Quaramonte, the traveler's rear entrance to Central America. Well, that's how it was translated in the brochure. We didn't know what we were looking for, but the offices of Condor Transglobal seemed a good place to start.
Day. I don't see any cabs. Let's ask someone how to get to Quaramonte City.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled for any sign of Condor Transglobal. A couple of musicians stood watching life go on around them. They looked pretty depressed. The guy was selling fish. The woman had an impressive display of gourds. The guy wasn't showing much enthusiasm selling his wares. The man was puffing away at a crudely rolled cigar. It was Nico, wearing clothes I'd never seen before. Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and thrown in jail.
Poor Miguel. He never broke the law in his life.
Why was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional Quaramonte music, even though it's illegal.
Why don't you try playing a tune to cheer yourselves up?
No, we should be looking for real jobs.
We could earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at Teoculcan. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out, though.
2 of them, including your cousin, and they left half of him behind.
I recognized the woman immediately. Last time I'd seen her was in a market in Syria. It was Pearl Henderson, the globe-trotting bargain hunter.
George Stobbart, well, of all the...
Mrs. Henderson! Boy, this is some coincidence, huh?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Dwayne as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
I'd met Pearl and Dwayne on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an Army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA, but wasn't sure. She was less obviously deranged. Is Dwayne here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Dwayne came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
We ain't speaking.
Why aren't you speaking to Dwayne?
Because he's an old spoil sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
Right, and you don't want to go on your own.
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
Is Dwayne still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he doesn't realize is that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
What brings you to Quaramonte, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywheres. The market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the Great Design, George.
Catch you later, Pearl. According to the sign over the door, this was Quaramonte's police station. Hey, Nico!
just as I have been instructed, Professor. With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavation. Ah, I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Quaramonte.
Thanks. My name's George Stobbart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nico Collard. Enchanté, mon général.
Pardon me, Senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, Senor. Tourist information. General Graciento, at your service.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, Senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
No, I never heard of him.
I hear there was an accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Quaramonte?
Yes, there is. An emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happens in your country.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, Signor. Quaramonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to conduct a guided tour when he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Ubier, a visitor, Signor, like yourselves.
Did you say Ubier?
Si, Signor. Professor Ubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Ubier doing in Quaramonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, Signor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
I'll be back. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
That's a native carving, isn't it? Where did you get it?
We picked it up in the market as a souvenir.
Take a look at this label.
Si, Senor. Condor Transglobal.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, Senor. I never heard of them, and neither did Ronaldo.
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in Quaramonte City.
You are mistaken, Senorita.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, Senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything called Condor. Whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in Quaramonte?
Of course, Senorita. Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed by a flash flood.
I'll be back. It was the map which the General had been showing to Professor Ubier.
Senor. Leave that child alone.
Why did you show him the stone?
I thought maybe he might know something about it.
Well, he does now, for sure. He knows we have it.
Did you notice that chart on the police station wall?
Yes, it looked like a map to me, but I couldn't make out the details.
Whatever it was, the general didn't want us to see it. You came on a little strong with the general.
I was merely flattering his ego, George. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe, but that guy's weakness isn't in his foot. Tell me about this Karzak guy.
Well, I saw him for only a few minutes, but he frightens me. I got the impression that Pablo was nervous when he was around too. His eyes, they're like a wild animal's, like a tiger. That's what scared me most about him. He looked so unpredictable and dangerous.
Did you know Ubier's wife was a film star?
No, I didn't know he was married. What happened to her?
She died. In mysterious circumstances, apparently.
How mysterious.
I heard she was murdered, possibly by Ubier himself.
A murderer, huh? André said he was something of a celebrity.
Labano tells me he's been seeing a lot of you.
We meet sometimes for lunch, a drink. After you'd gone back to the States, I was pretty lonely, you know.
Lonely? You must have been desperate. Couldn't you just visit the zoo or something? That man we saw talking to the general was Ubier. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be Ubier, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Nah, it's too much of a coincidence that he's here in Quaramonte. The old woman was preparing a food that consisted of ground maize and lots of spittle. It was that suspect archaeologist, Ubier. It was Pearl's husband, Dwayne. Professor Ubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobbart, George Stobbart.
I thought that face was familiar. Remember me, George? Wayne Henderson.
Hi, Dwayne. Just a moment. I have a few questions to ask the professor here. Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In fact, if it wasn't for Karzak, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
Tell me about your wife, Professor.
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
Maybe you don't, but I do. Why was she known as the Little Dachshund?
It was just a silly pet name I used to call her. Somehow some damned reporter found out.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Have you ever employed a Central American butler or servant?
I've never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
Do you see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here, to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
That's my business.
How much do you want for it?
It's not for sale. Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh yes. Tezcatlipoca, the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror shield in his left hand? The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims. And victims they gave him by the thousands.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see it.
I have proof that you are directly involved with Condor.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris. Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History is my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was a child. I wouldn't miss a total eclipse for the world.
Does the eclipse have some special significance for you?
From me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the 5th age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The 5th is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't get enough of these things. Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobbart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
Are you still working for... you know who?
Who's that, George? You know I'm retired.
Oh, nothing. Forget it. I confused you with somebody else.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Do you think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known as La Presidenta, the dictator.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He's the man behind Condor, and the rat who kidnapped Nico.
You know, the first time I met you, I was deeply impressed with your naive simplicity. I said to Pearl, if we ever had kids, I would have wanted a boy like George. But I underestimated you, son.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Quaramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has been imprisoned just because of the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was imprisoned?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines. That so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel, you'd think she'd been trucking half her life.
What's in the truck, Dwayne?
Oh, just camping equipment. Sleeping bags and tents. Me and Pearl always hankered after a taste of the great outdoors.
Aren't you worried about camping out in the tropical jungle?
We had a trial run in West Virginia. This'll be a breeze in comparison.
Would you like a biscuit, Dwayne?
Oh no, those gourmet dog snacks bring me out in a rash.
You've tried them?
They were on special offer. Pearl bought a whole crate. When I asked her if she was thinking of keeping a dog too, she just laughed.
Would you like to borrow my lucky piece of coal, Dwayne?
What's so lucky about it?
Well, we made it to Quaramonte in one piece.
When you've been here a few days, you won't look on that as luck.
Do you know anything about a shipping company called Condor Transglobal?
I never heard of it, son.
Hola, señora.
Hi. We were wondering...
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi, my name is Nico Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobbart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Have you heard of a man named Karzak?
No? Who is he?
He's the reason we came to Quaramonte. We think he's running a drug ring.
Well, I hope you find him, but I've never heard the name before.
Can you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was sabotage. Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Do you have any evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started a rumor among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
Where's the site of the mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Do you know Professor Ubier?
Yes. I understand he is about to embark on an archaeological expedition. He hired some equipment from me earlier today.
I overheard him talking to the general. I think they're working together.
What? If I'd known that, I wouldn't have hired out the equipment. Now, why would the general be interested in an archaeologist?
Can you tell me anything about this statue?
It is Tezcatlipoca, the god of death and pestilence. That fetish would be considered by many to be a bad omen.
Do you recognize the icon on this label?
Condor Transglobal.
Did the company operate here in Quaramonte?
Yes, they ran an old container ship, the Mayan Princess.
Do you know who owned Condor Transglobal?
I have no idea.
Have you heard about the forthcoming eclipse?
I don't take much interest in things like that. One of the boys might know about it.
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
Does this stone mean anything to you?
I think it is a spirit stone carved by a Mayan priest, no? I don't know which of their many gods it represents.
You see this? It's my lucky piece of coal.
What's so lucky about it?
I'm not sure yet.
Nice buns.
It was a store cupboard. A disgustingly handsome man. I couldn't understand why the female owner had surrounded herself with men like this. The guy was working away like an automaton. It was one of Conchita's posse of hunks.
Keep out of there. That's where the explosives are stored.
Hi. Good afternoon and welcome to Consolidated Mining. If you are planning to stay in Quaramonte City, may I recommend the Consolidated Mining Experience, an interactive hands-on tour of one of our deepest mines, with talking tour guides available in 3 different languages.
A tour of a mine.
Well, this is a mining company. What else did you expect?
Do you know anything about the eclipse that's due soon?
Me? No, senor.
Do you know where I could find Senor Karzak?
No, senor.
How come you're not wearing any pants?
I feel more alert without them. Kind of perky.
And your boss doesn't mind?
She suggested it.
Are you looking forward to the eclipse of the sun?
Not especially. Are you?
I don't know. I've never seen one. All I know about eclipses is that you shouldn't try to view them with the naked eye.
Please, go away and let me get on with my work.
Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
Can't you see I'm busy? If I don't finish this stock report, the boss will be mad as hell.
Did you know there's an eclipse of the sun in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, Joe told me about it. He's having a party and we're all invited. Me and the boys are dressing up as evil monks.
Yeah? Cool. Ever hear of a guy called Karzak?
No, sir.
Maybe I'm wrong, but you seemed kind of evasive when I asked you about what you had in that truck before.
Damn right I was being evasive. I couldn't talk in front of the foreign national, see? George, I'm on a top-secret classified mission for Uncle Sam. This truck is a rolling bomb. 400 pounds of nitrate fertilizer with a plastique initiator. They'll hear the bang in China. Gee, I'm really looking forward to this.
Is Miguel the reason you're here?
Pretty smart, George. I was supposed to make contact with him. By the time I found him, though, he was in jail. I've been trying to figure out a way to get him out since then.
Sounds good to me. Count me in.
Good man, George. All I need is a detonator.
How come you brought a truckload of explosives but no detonator?
Call me old-fashioned, but I say packing trunks is woman's work. I left the packing to Pearl, and I can't find a darn thing. Just hope she remembered to bring my denture polish. I'd sure hate to arrive back in the States with tar on my teeth.
Have you really never heard of Condor?
Of course I have, son. Matter of fact, it was old Dwayne's investigations scared him off.
Did you find any evidence of Condor's drug smuggling operations?
Drugs? Hell no! Condor was a cover for the illegal export of Mayan artifacts.
So who was behind Condor Transglobal?
It was registered in the name of Edan.
Did you get the guy?
I don't think he ever existed. Edan backwards spells Nady, Spanish for nobody.
What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No, the guy we knew in Paris bought them for him.
Oh, you're a threesome then. Why are you looking at me like that, George?
Forget it. Now, I like most animals, but experience had made me wary of goats, and cats, and dogs. Do you have any kind of detonating device in stock?
Sure. They're kept in that cupboard.
I don't suppose you have one spare?
I can't simply give you a device like that, no without a damn good reason.
The General has a chart in his office, which he was discussing with Ubier.
Perhaps that chart will tell us where they're heading.
Maybe, but I can't get anywhere near it while the General and his sidekick are there. The General while I took a look at that chart?
You're kidding. Did you see the way he was leering at me?
Yeah, you'd make a great snake charmer. Come on, 5 minutes is all I need.
Well, maybe. But it's your harebrained scheme. You do the talking.
My girlfriend has a favor she wants to ask you, General.
For you, my dear, anything.
I've changed my mind.
Oh, no, you haven't. She's embarrassed about asking you for an interview, General.
An interview with me? Fabuloso!
Well, I want to write a story about you.
You hear that, Ronaldo? An exclusive glossy spread about your beloved General.
Si, Signor General.
look after things here. I'm going back to my apartment and I don't want to be disturbed.
I'll get you for this, George Stobbart.
Don't worry. If you're gone for more than a couple of hours, I'll come and get you.
A couple of hours?
No, senor. The general said nobody must see that chart.
He won't know unless you tell him.
You don't know him, senor. He will worm it out of me as easily as he de-waxes his ear.
Okay. I'd have to get rid of him. Hi, I'm George Stobbart.
Hello, senor. How can I help you?
I'd like to visit your prisoner.
Condemned prisoners aren't allowed visitors.
Condemned?
To death. He is to be executed. Knowing my luck, I will probably have to shoot him myself.
Amnesty International's gonna hear about this. I thought Miguel was arrested for playing the wrong kind of music.
Si, senor, he was.
And that carries the death penalty?
No. You think we're crazy? While being questioned, he confessed to being an anti-government agent.
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect. Would you take my friend to the ruins now the general's gone?
I'd be honored, senor.
Thanks. I'll go get him. I've made the arrangements for your visit to the temple, Pearl.
Oh, that's just great, George. Why don't you come too, honey?
I'd love to, but right now I have to save the world.
Listen, sweetie. I'm looking for an official guide to take me to the old pyramid.
For a lovely lady, I would go to the ends of the earth. For you, I will go as far as the pyramid and back. But what about your husband?
What he doesn't know won't hurt him. Let's go, Beanpole.
As Pearl and Ronaldo set out for the ruined pyramid, I prepared to search the police station. Like a geological survey map showing the land to the southeast of Quaramonte City. About 60 miles inland and upstream was an area marked Teoculcan. It was Miguel, the musician. I'm George Stobbart. You're Miguel the musician, aren't you?
Ex-musician, senor. My career is finished.
Going to jail could be the boost your career needed.
Senor, I would rather die than live with this shame.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
Yes. The old man spoke of him.
The foreigner? Professor Ubier?
That's right. This man Karzak is Ubier's boss.
Why is that noose hanging from the bars?
Ronaldo strung it up, for me to hang myself. Don't cry for me, Senor Stobbart. When I am dead, the goddess will take my soul to rest in paradise.
I got a good look at that chart in the police station. It's a map of Quaramonte.
Does it tell us where Ubier is heading?
Yeah, a place called Teoculcan.
That's the site of the mine. I wonder why they're being so secretive about Ubier's plans. One thing's for sure. If the general's involved, they're up to no good. I'd like to talk to that musician we get. Take the detonator and get him out of that jail.
Here is the detonator, Dwayne.
Keep your voice down, George. You want everyone to know. You'd best go and warn Miguel that the U.S. cavalry's on the way.
Okay.
happening?
We're getting out of here.
Who's we? They've sent the Delta Force?
Nope.
The Impossible Missions Force?
Don't make me sick. Much better.
Who then?
A retired greetings card salesman from Ohio.
I'm doomed.
You're not the only one.
I should have known you'd be trouble the moment I saw you.
Look, I can explain everything.
Get in that cell, now.
And what if I refuse?
He'll shoot you.
Okay, here I am, going quietly into the cell.
Very wise, North-Americano scum.
One of the reasons I hate guns so much is the way they make people so damned impolite.
I hope you're enjoying your vacation, Senor Stobbart.
Go polish your weapon, Ronaldo.
This was part of your plan, right?
Well, in a manner of speaking, no. I was all out of ideas. It was up to